My name is Kristina Jay, and I'm a life purpose, confidence, and happiness life coach. I have created this YouTube channel in hopes to help hurting women to get back their power, courage, and confidence without feeling guilty and embrace their true happiness in finding their unique life's purpose. Today, I would like to talk about an emotional abuse in relationship and what are the signs of this type of abuse. Emotional abuse is not that easy to spot. It is not that obvious as, for example, physical abuse. From emotional abuse, you are not getting physical bruises or scars, but this type of abuse leaves mental scars. Emotional abuse is toxic and it's dangerous and it creates fears. It diminishes our self-esteem, makes us doubt ourselves, and can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, loneliness, hopelessness, and despair. There are lots of different tactics that the emotional abusers will use to control their victim. And today we will look into 10 signs of an emotional abuse. Well, the point of any abuse basically is to control you. Emotionally abusive person would diminish you and manipulate, brainwash you, and will get into your mind in order to control you and keep you in relationship with him. That is why the very first sign of emotional abusive relationship is dominating and controlling. That stands out as the greatest sign of an emotional abuse. And they act as if they are superior. The abusers act as if they are superior. And they want to control your every move and your friends' circle, your food or clothes preferences, your hobbies, and sometimes your finances. They want to check your phone and computer, social media. Sometimes the control may appear seemingly innocent, as if they are just concerned about you, as if they are caring about you, but it is a very big difference between concern and control. Abusers often control their victims with a range of tactics, and those could include like positive reinforcement. For example, they could like praise you and have that superficial charm and love bomb you and smile at you and give you gifts and attention just in order to manipulate you and control you. And it could be also like negative reinforcement, like taking away items or like stopping financial support. It'd be like psychological punishments. It could be like nagging and silent treatment and swearing and threats and inattention, and also like traumatic tactics such as verbal abuse or explosive anger out of nowhere. And so we will be talking about some of those tactics further as signs of an emotional abuse. Number 2 would be accusing and blaming. So those abusers, they are never to blame, and you are the one who was wrong. They might do something very cruel, and instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they will blame you. They are not the ones to say sorry or apologize, and somehow they will accuse you and make you feel guilty, and you will start doubting yourself, and you will start excusing their wrong behavior, and eventually the apology will come from your side. I talked more about blaming and like toxic relationship in my previous video, and you can check it out. It's 10 signs of toxic relationship. However, number 3 of emotional abuse, the sign of emotional abuse would be intentional humiliation and degrading. Emotional abuser is not acknowledging you when you speak or express your opinion, does not validate your feelings and instead calls you like oversensitive or even crazy and putting you down and using lots of sarcasm. And when you say it hurts, actually stop, I don't like it, that hurts. Well, he usually says, well, it was just a joke, and you do not have any good sense of humor. Or he can make you feel ashamed of your own words or actions in on one setting, sometimes in front of your friends and colleagues and family members. Abusers can use degrading comments about your appearance or your success, might say that you would never be able to find such a good partner as he is, or for such women as you, it would be very hard and nearly impossible to find another man who would be living with you. Such sayings and all kinds of small insults and sarcastic jokes can negatively affect your self-esteem. And so intentional humiliation and degrading is a big sign of an emotional abuse. Sign number 4 of an emotional abuse is rejection, neglect, and or silent treatment. You feel excluded from important decision making. You are not included in his plans, or he plans without you and never asks your opinion. If you said something to make him accountable for his actions, he might give you a cold shoulder, might neglect you or remove his love, so could punish you and make you pay. Sometimes an emotional abuser can use public rejection. He can totally ignore you around your friends or family members as a punishment. When your partner suddenly becomes physically or emotionally unavailable to you, actually you start feeling insecure and possibly blame yourself for something you have not even done. You might initiate another conversation and apologize to the abuser because you are kind of dependent on him for your emotional support, and you just cannot stand the neglect or silent treatment. And he knows that, so uses it against you in order to control you. Sign number 5 in an emotional abuse is unpredictability. Abusive person demonstrates drastic mood swings, such as being very affectionate and very kind, buying you flowers and taking you out to eat and saying that you're a beautiful woman of his dreams, to suddenly becoming mean and diminishing you and full of rage. And out of the sudden, he cancels your plans for holidays or calls you mean, rude, horrible wife and monster mom. And you just don't know, like, whoa, what just have happened? Like, the other day I was the most beautiful and the best woman and most wonderful mom, and today I'm a monster and I'm evil and I'm bad and I'm not worth his love. And you just cannot understand how it can happen, how the same person one day could say all those beautiful things and the other day all those nasty things about you, the person that he claims to love. He also self-contradicts himself, makes a statement that contradicts the one that he said earlier, also acting two-faced, like charming and very attentive and having good manners in public, and sometimes totally different and abusive at home. Number 6 would be exploitation. Emotional abusers would ask you for favors that you do not feel comfortable doing or plainly do not want to do. And they reach out to you just to use you. They do little to you and are emotionally unavailable, but they expect to use you whenever they need that, whether it's emotionally or physically or sexually. And you should always meet their needs while they do not care about yours. You feel pretty much like an object that they can use and misuse and even throw away. If you not working properly, they do not need you anymore. If you are feeling sick, physically or emotionally, and are not able to serve them as usual, they cannot understand that and still can be very demanding. Or they can make a comment, well, get better soon, the house is a mess, and maybe go away, put yourself together and come back, as I need a strong and healthy woman. No empathy there. You are just one of their things that they owe. And number 7 is manipulation. Manipulation is trying to get something from another person using different tactics, but not asking directly. So in different situations with an abusive person, you might end up doing what you do not really want to do, because an abuser has made the alternatives very difficult. Emotional abusers are very high manipulative. They can bring up something the other person feels guilty about and then ask for something. They can call you mean and selfish if you do not agree to what they ask, or opposite, can compliment you in order to get what they need. And sometimes the manipulators just go ahead and do what they know you will not agree to. And when you try to make them accountable for that, they will find 100 reasons to prove they were right and you were wrong. And sometimes they insist that you promise and then be morally bound, but you promised that, didn't you? So emotional manipulation is meant to confuse you and leave you off balance, and is often very subtle and deceptive. Number 8, it's mind games and gaslighting. You might confront a partner of what he said or did, and he would say, I never did that, or I do not remember, or are you just creating here crazy stories or what? Are you all right? You cannot remember things, can you? You are blaming me for no reason. The things you are saying never happened. Even if you are 100% sure that that actually happened and that had been said, when they start saying that, sometimes, or most of the times actually, if you are in an abusive relationship, you start doubting yourself and doubt your own reality. And sometimes you start asking yourself, am I going crazy here? Because they play those mind games. They want you to doubt yourself, your reality, your sanity. There is a term for that, and it's gaslighting. In an emotional abusive relationship, after you being gaslighted, you will start demonstrating all kinds of symptoms, such as no longer feeling like the person you used to be, and being more anxious and less confident than you used to be, and feeling like everything you do is wrong, and always thinking it's your fault when things go wrong, and you're apologizing often, and often you start wondering, oh, maybe I'm too sensitive, or maybe I'm going crazy, I don't know what's going on with me. That is gaslighting. And emotional abusive person knows how to play those mind games very well. Number 9, that is the sign of emotional abuse, is excessive criticism. We can tell our partner what we think or how we feel without criticizing them as an individual. But criticism attacks someone's character rather than addresses specific behaviors. In an emotional abusive relationship, it seems you can do nothing right. Like your partner holds you accountable to his impossibly high standards, use critical words, and diminishes you. Well, why can't you be smarter? Why couldn't you do that better? How is it hard to understand that? How is it difficult to do that? It's easy peasy for me. Are you dumb or what? Why cannot you do that? Because you cannot do the smallest thing right. Or he can criticize you in more polite manner. Well, that looks not too bad, but yeah, I know better how to do that. Let me fix that. Or the kids are not listening to you, but they can definitely listen to me, Over time, criticism widens the emotional distance between you and your partner. And the warm, positive feelings are replaced by resentment and hostility. And number 10, the last sign that I'm going to talk today about of emotional abuse is emotional neglect and isolation. Abusers tend to place their own emotional needs ahead of yours. And many abusers will try to come between you and people who are supportive of you to make you more dependent on them. And when you tell them about something that's important to you, they say, well, it's nothing. And body language, they use like eye rolling and like head shaking and sighing and, like help convey the same message. Like, I'm not interested in what you have to say. And they can be shutting down communication and ignore your attempts at conversation in person by text or phone. And they look away when you are talking or stare at something else when they speak to you. And when you are really down and reach out for support, they tell you that you are too needy, you are too sensitive. What do you want from me? They see you hurt or crying sometimes, and they do nothing about that. Just cry there. Gonna be over soon anyways. That is a very sad place to be. Whatever you feel, they'll say you are wrong to feel that. You are wrong to feel that way, or that's not really what you feel at all. And they somehow know better how you should feel or how you're feeling at that moment than you yourself. Many abusers will try to isolate you too, and to come between you and people who are supportive of you. And they might be keeping you from socializing. Whenever you have plans to go out, for example, they come up with a distraction or like beg you not to go. And these are 10 signs of an emotional abuse in relationships that I wanted to talk about today. And when emotional abuse is severe and ongoing, a victim may lose their entire sense of self, and the wounds might be invisible to others, but are hidden in the self-doubt and worthlessness and even self-loathing. If you are being mentally and emotionally abused, trust what your heart is telling you. Know that it is not right, and you don't have to live this way. In my next video, I will give you some tips how to deal with emotional abuse. Well, for today, that was it. And thanks for being here with me. And stay strong, and stay healthy and courageous, and stand up for what is right. And know your true value as a wonderful woman and a beautiful daughter of God. Goodbye now, and see you in a week.